I walked into my favorite country bar, found a free table in the far corner, and ordered a sandwich, fries, and a beer. I sat there staring at the TV where a program about country music was on. They were talking about old stars, most of whom had already passed away, although some were still alive. There was something melancholic about it, stories about legends, their hard lives, and the poverty they escaped thanks to music. As I was finishing my food, my best friend Bob walked into the bar with Olivia. It was like a punch in the gut because I considered Olivia my girlfriend. I had asked her to spend the evening with me, but she said she had already made plans to meet friends and suggested we see each other tomorrow. We'd been dating for 6 months, spending almost every weekend together. I felt myself falling deeper in love with her, and she said she felt the same. We even talked about getting engaged, but decided not to rush. It was already going great. The show ended, someone turned on the jukebox, and the song Crazy started playing. It was the second verse. I knew you would love me as long as you wanted, and then one day leave for someone else. And then it hit me. What if that someone else was already Bob? The worst part was, he knew perfectly well how I felt about Olivia. Apparently, male friendship meant nothing to him. I walked up to their table. They looked at me, and Bob immediately started speaking. Charlie? I cut him off. Shut your mouth. If we run into each other again, one of us is ending up in the hospital. Then I looked at Olivia and calmly said, I'm disappointed in you. It's over between us. You showed me your true face. After that, I turned and walked away. The next day, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. It was Olivia, but I didn't want to talk to her. Later, the phone rang again. This time it was Bob. I decided to answer. What do you want, Bob? Charlie, I'm sorry. You know I've always liked Olivia. We talked at work. I asked her out, and she said yes. You had no right. You knew she was my girlfriend, but you asked her out anyway. How many times did you go out, Bob? It was only... How many times, Bob? 3 times. We started having feelings for each other. What about Alice? Did you tell her? She deserves better than you, Bob. I don't want to see you anymore. And Olivia either. You deserve each other. I hung up. Alice was Bob's girlfriend. The 3 of us, Bob, Alice, and I, worked at the same factory. And the story of how we met deserves a tale of its own. Soon the phone rang again. Olivia, I decided to answer. What do you want? Charlie, I'm sorry. Bob asked me out a few times, and I eventually said yes, but it didn't mean anything. Stop lying. I talked to Bob, and he said you went out at least 3 times. I think it was more than that. Was it about money? Silence. Well then, good luck. You're both greedy. You deserve each other. I don't care about either of you. The only person I really feel sorry for is Alice. She thought you were a friend. Don't call me again. I grew up in Kentucky in a big family with 8 brothers and sisters. I was the oldest. I played American football in school and got a sports scholarship to a college in Ohio. I was a defensive lineman, 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighing 260 pounds. My parents couldn't afford to pay for college, so the scholarship was my only chance. I dreamed of becoming a mechanical engineer. I always liked working with my hands. By nature, I was a bit reserved and always treated women with respect. My sisters taught me to respect women, and my mother used to say, treat girls the way you'd want others to treat your sisters. That's when I became friends with Bob. He was outgoing and not much into sports. In conversations, he mentioned his family had money. Not right now, but in the future, he could count on an inheritance. He studied business management. In our free time from practice, we hung out together. Bob always got along well with girls, and at parties, they surrounded him. I was more modest, but thanks to Bob, girls started noticing me too. On my own, I probably never would have learned how to talk to girls. After graduation, I stayed in Ohio and got a job as a mechanical engineer at Ford Motor Company. The salary was decent, and I rented a small apartment not far from the plant. I also bought myself a used but fairly new pickup. Every month, I put some money aside and sent $500 to my parents to help them. My dad was a coal miner, and I was very close to my family. Bob also got a job in the same town. He worked in a warehouse that supplied parts to our Ford plant. Over time, he became the warehouse manager. We still spent weekends together. One day, he told me he was dating a girl from work. Her name was Alice, and she was in charge of inventory control. Bob introduced us. Honestly, I could have fallen in love with her at first sight, but Bob and I had a strict code. No dating each other's girls. It was a tough decision, but I wanted to see. Olivia and I had been together for about 6 months, talked about the future, even discussed getting engaged, but Olivia said there was no need to rush. One day we went to a fair. I saw a stand with budget jewelry and bought her a ring. I said it was a symbol that she was mine until she was ready for a real engagement ring. She smiled and put it on. By the way, I had started going to the gym 3 times a week after work, lost weight down to 104 kilos and felt in great shape. And then that night at the country bar happened. Seeing my girlfriend and best friend kissing was a heavy blow. After that evening at the restaurant and the phone conversation, I cut all ties with them. Yes, I was damn angry, but I truly felt sorry for Alice. 2 weeks passed, and my phone rang. Charlie, I'm so sorry about you and Olivia. I thought she might pull something like that, but I never would have thought with Bob. Alice, are you suggesting she had other guys at work too? I saw her having lunch with her boss, Brad, but they do that regularly. I wanted to tell you, but I wasn't sure. What if I was wrong? And then I found out about Olivia and Bob. As soon as I did, I cut all ties with them too. It's hard seeing them at work, but I'm trying to hang in there. Alice, thanks for calling. I was worried about you. You're one of my closest friends. Maybe we could meet up sometime? I'd like that, Charlie. After the conversation, I wasn't sure if I felt better or worse. A couple more weeks passed, and one evening I went to the supermarket and ran into Alice. Hey, Charlie, good to see you. How are you doing? I'm okay. And you? Back in the dating world already? She smiled. I've already turned down a few offers because I'm waiting for one specific person. I don't want to ruin it if he decides to call me. Oh, sorry, I was just about to ask if you wanted to. Yes, I do. You're the one I've been waiting for. When and where are we meeting? I need to know how to dress. Saturday, my favorite country bar. We said goodbye, and I told her I'd pick her up at 6 p.m. When I picked her up, she looked absolutely stunning. Jeans, vest, cowboy hat, and boots. Classic Western style. I opened the pickup truck door and she got in. On Saturdays, a country band played at the bar. We grabbed a table, ordered a beer each. We had an hour before the music started, so we chatted calmly. Turned out Alice was from Kentucky, from a neighboring county to my hometown. She graduated college there, applied for jobs, and eventually got hired at a factory in Ohio. The conversation was easy, and it was nice to talk to her again. She asked if this was the bar where I caught Bob, and Olivia. I confirmed it, but said I wasn't going to let a pair of traitors ruin my favorite place. She just smiled in response. When the music started playing, we went out on the dance floor. At first, they played slow songs so all the couples could relax. Then they switched to fast rhythms, and Alice and I decided to sit down. I admitted I wasn't a fan of fast dancing, but loved watching girls move. Then the host invited the girls to do summer dances, and even some guys joined in. Well, maybe you'll go, I teased Alice. You just want to look at my... She laughed and joined the other girls. When the dance started, I couldn't take my eyes off her. She looked right at me and deliberately shook her hips. I smiled and even clapped in time with the music. When the song ended, she came up to me with a sly smile. I leaned in to kiss her, but then apologized. I don't regret it, she replied and kissed me again herself. We had a great evening. Danced, had a couple more beers. Time flew by. When they announced the last song, I pulled Alice close and we swayed to the music. As soon as the melody faded, I leaned in and kissed her. I drove her home and asked if she'd like to go out again next Saturday. I suggested going to Cedar Point, a big amusement park in Ohio. She happily agreed and we kissed goodbye. I didn't want to rush things on our first date, but I felt great all week at work. On Friday, I called Alice to confirm the plans. She said she had heard of the park but had never been. Saturday morning, I picked her up and we hit the road. We talked along the way, and I asked if she had mentioned to Bob or Olivia that we started dating. She said she hadn't talked to them since finding out about their affair. We had a great time, rode roller coasters and other attractions. The park had many shows, which we also dropped in on. On the way back, we decided to have dinner at Texas Roadhouse. When we got home, we were both completely exhausted. Alice lived with a roommate named Joan, a nice woman in her 50s who worked at a store. Alice said she appreciated Joan's company, as she had become like family, and they got along well. I told Alice I was going out of town for the weekend, but would like to see her next week. She said she'd be happy if I called when I got